My name's Terry Mogan. I live in Bathurst and I've been a resident of Bathurst for all of my life. I've had a long association with Bathrust Council, starting a first year apprenticeship in the 2nd of January 1968. In the last 15 years, I was a workshop manager. I retired this year in July. That was my whole working life. When I started my apprenticeship, it was as a motor mechanic. And so I always had a love of mechanical things, and my dad was a motor mechanic. And I just loved cars, so getting an apprenticeship on the local council was fantastic. Working on the council and being linked to Mount Panorama is a reason that I had so much to do with the cars in the museum tours. I think the Monaro was the first car that was donated by James Hardy Industries, and from that car it just evolved into another, and until I think council all up owns about 14 cars in this collection, and each one of those cars has been restored by the staff in the council workshop. It was a slow process. We didn't do a restoration in a matter of weeks. It was usually over quite a few months. One of the challenges is always to try to get them as authentic as you can. And this car was donated, but it's the wrong colour. It had the wrong differential. I think it had a 6-cylinder, so we had to source all the right gear and put in it. So we took it back to a bare metal shell, and that was done in the council workshop. We completely stripped all the interior out of it, all the hood lining, and while it was being painted in the correct colours, we were gathering parts to put back in it when it came back to the workshop. Like gathering the parts for these older cars, they're not that expensive if you can find the parts for them. The chrome might be really rusted and that on the car that as we got it, so you'd send the bumper bars away to have it re-chromed. If we had local people, like the sign writer was always a local gentleman, he did all that. It's all hand done. It's no stickers. It's all done in the traditional ways. And that's because that's the way the cars were done at that time. So we didn't use stickers if the original car would have had sign writing on it. We just tried to keep it as authentic as possible. We didn't have a dedicated job number or a fleet number to work on, so we couldn't just willy-nilly fly into it in working hours. So it was usually done at lunch breaks. At lunchtime, the boys would have their lunch and then they'd go and spend 20, 30 minutes working on the car, and then you'd put it away for the next day or the next day. We had a budget usually around $15,000 a year, which was classed as a restoration budget. So there was no labour on that because all the workers, or the work that went into it by the apprentices and the mechanics was done in their lunch breaks or after work. But as things progressed, like the Moffat Falcon and the Brock Commodore, to purchase an engine might be $30,000. So we could still work on it, but we couldn't source parts or that. We'd have to wait until we had a new budget. But there was never a timeline. So if the vehicle came in to the workshop, we would continue until it was complete. We tried to keep a program going where if we are in a bit of a slack period down at the workshop, we might get a couple of fellas come up and go over a particular vehicle. The cars that are road registered, you can come up, start them, drive them downtown around the track and get a good feel for them, how they're going, if everything's right. Yeah, it's great to see them out. And this particular car, even though it's a replica of the Bathurst winner, we've got the original number plates. So that's the plates that the car raced on at Bathurst. Working for Bathrust Council as an apprentice mechanic, it was just a dream, really. Just loved what it was, everything about motor racing. and especially these type of cars. And once a year, Bathrust was the place to be. And the council workshop was heavily involved with that, and I was very lucky.